Well, yesterday we spoke of the violent, hysterical, and crazy backlash directed towards Democratic lawmakers after the passage of the health care bill. But you know what? A few threats here and there just might be worth the epic proportions of this victory. In 1 week, Barack Obama has gone from failing to change to securing historic health care reform and a nuclear arms reduction treaty. So is he on a roll? The president still has got a lot on his plate in terms of promises. So my next question is, what's he going to do next? Well, here to discuss it with me, I have Matt and Peter Seletsky, the co-founders of Doublespeak Media. I want to thank you guys for being here.
Sure.
First of all, how long does Obama have right now to just bask in the glory of this victory of finally getting health care through?
I would say about 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. I mean,
you think that's it?
The weekend. Maybe take the weekend at Camp David. Listen, this is a huge victory. It's a great step forward for his administration. It really pulled things back from the brink. But it's not over. I mean, he has a lot of work to do in terms of other policy and in terms of selling this health care bill. And I think, celebrating right now is not actually what's going to win him points or support from the American people.
And the bottom line is, what my brother said, he's got to sell this package, but he's got to refocus now on jobs. Jobs are where people are feeling, the pain. Yes, the health care bill does a lot to help people's kind of state of mind. Long term. But in the immediate future, they want jobs. And that's where the problems are. If you look at polling in the states, that's where the people are really, in trouble.
Yeah, but if we really look at the way people are reacting, you could say that beforehand, we could have criticized Obama for not selling this health care bill well. Nobody knew what was in it. Nobody really understood what was going on. And yet the day it was passed, I think everybody breathed, not everybody, but many people breathed a collective sigh of relief. And all of a sudden the polls shot up, that more Americans started supporting this bill. So does he really have to keep selling it? He's out taunting Republicans, saying, go ahead, try to repeal it. I think he's feeling very confident.
It's funny because about a year ago, former President Bill Clinton said the day this passes, Barack Obama's approval ratings will go up 10 to 15 points, and it looks like it's on that trajectory. I think he does. I mean, look, there were provisions in this bill that go into effect in 2010 that he needs to make sure he's selling to the American people, because it's not just about the polling, but it's about how do you implement such a massive sweeping change. So I think it's important that he does. But again, there's huge issues the country faces: the regulatory reform, the financial state of the economy, and the job situation. That's where he's got to be.
So which one's going to be first? What does he first? I want us to divide these two. I want us to say what he should do next in terms of necessity. What's the most important thing for the country? And then what should he do next politically?
Well, in terms of necessity, he needs to secure the safety net underneath people. I mean, that's the key thing, and he can make the case that the health care bill was the first step towards that. But in terms of financial reform, I mean, the banks are the enemy, right? We've established that. The Democrats have been saying that all year, and we need to put reforms into place. Now, in terms of politically, I think that he needs to secure and thank the members that went out on the limb and voted for this. I mean, it's about making sure that the losses, if there are going to be losses in the midterm elections, are not profound, that it's not a tidal wave, but that it's a small wave.
And I would argue, actually, as we've seen in the last couple of days, that the midterms are still very much up for grabs. And so he needs to the White House needs to look forward at a strategy in the next year to do what my brother said with the economy, especially the mortgage market. That's huge because there's still millions of people who are underwater. But then looking towards a strategy to shore up those members of Congress who went out on a limb and voted for him, raising money.
That's what I mean when I say politically, because immigration is an incredibly divisive issue. So which one we would assume after financial regulation, which the ball is already rolling on that one, you would assume that immigration would be next. But is that really wise if November is coming up? Do you think that he's going to try to move past it?
This president, he is unique. I mean, the moment that he was elected, we knew this was going to be a historic and monumentous presidency. And I think he literally is bold. I think he wants to be bold. I think he's going to stake his presidency on real reform, big reform on these big issues that have plagued us for years. And who knows? I mean, politically, yeah, it's not a sure thing. But in terms of what it will mean for the country and in terms of what history will show, he could be a big winner.
And I want to also say that I think as we look towards the immigration debate, which I do agree is coming up, they're getting ready for it, you're going to start to hear messaging that's going to be right along the line of this is related to health care. Because right now there are millions of people in the system that are non-documented.
Well, I think that's definitely already begun. First, I want to show the audience a little clip because, you know, the president does have some rallying power. He's always been known for his silver tongue and the way he really commands an audience.
Like my brother, same kind of thing.
Let's look back at something that he said during his State of the Union address.
Do the work of fixing our broken immigration system, to secure our borders and enforce our laws and ensure that everyone who plays by the rules can contribute to our economy and enrich our nations.
I mean, look at that. Everybody was clapping. People were standing up and across the aisle, too. It wasn't like one party or the other was saying no, but is he going to have a lot of pushback on that?
Well, the devil's in the details. If he actually would have said something very specific, half the room would have been sitting, half the room would have been standing, like always. I think this is an extremely divisive issue, but politically it's an issue that both parties have to tread very carefully. They don't want to lose voters, and so, you know, it's going to have to thread the needle with it. But you said this president has a silver tongue. He's a great speaker. He's a great rallier, and I think he is uniquely able to potentially do this and change the way people think about the issue.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that President Bush, Senator Kennedy, and Senator McCain started this process in the last administration. So there is a framework, much more so than health care.
All right. I want to thank you guys for being here. We will see if the silver-tongued president will continue to have success in the future, but we have to take a